Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Will the XRP market cycle extend a good bit beyond what people are currently anticipating or have been anticipating in a general sense over the last 12 months or so? I don't know. I'm not completely convinced it's going to happen, but I can't rule it out. There are a ton of people, and some of these people at really notable entities in the world of crypto that really think that this market cycle is going to go far beyond what was being calculated before it started. And there are a number of interesting reasons potentially as to why. Humans are behaving differently than was guessed. Which humans? Well, specifically, institutional adopters. The humans running institutions, humans that are running publicly traded companies. They're participating in crypto in a way that actually was not anticipated, certainly not to this degree. Outside of something like that happening, I don't even know for sure that the really bullish portion of the market cycle would have even started yet. I don't think it's much debated at this point that it really is institutional adoption that got the ball rolling when it did within the crypto asset class, which is the first time, by the way, that's ever happened. Every single other bull portion of a market cycle that's ever lit off is done because of retail speculators. But finally, institutional money's here like, yeah, this isn't going away clearly. Now they want a piece of it. Now that it's more expensive than it was a decade ago or even 5 years ago or even a few years ago. But they get it now. Like, people are starting to get it. And so here's the thing. So like, if this happens, it will be led by Bitcoin. And that's fine. Bitcoin leads the market. I have no beef with that. But if that's the case, XRP is going to run, I think anyway, a lot higher than what people were anticipating. Now, I don't make price predictions. I'm not going to in this video, so don't get your hopes up on that front, but it's an interesting topic regardless. And so here's what I've seen. There are tons of analysts that have been thinking, and many still do, and maybe they're right. You're going to see, the market cycle, this market cycle go for another 6 to 12 months. On the flip side, what you're seeing is analysts that used to think along those lines in terms of market cycle duration that are now saying, maybe not so sure. Like, for instance, here's a headline from the Daily Hodl. Pantera Capital says its big Bitcoin price prediction is ahead of schedule. Well, how about that? That's because institutional money came in, no doubt, right? And so, actually, let me point this out too. A couple of things before I go further. First of all, I don't have a financial background. I'm not offering financial advice. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast that likes talking about topics like this and making YouTube videos as a hobby. Next, XRP is always lagged behind the market. Bitcoin leads, XRP drags, people bitch about it. Cycle repeat. That is what happens. And I've been calling it for years. The whole time we've been in this bear market, if you've been following me that long, I've been saying, you just wait. As Bitcoin gets going and XRP trades sideways, people are going to be coming out of the woodworks. All sorts of XRP holders just bitching up a storm that it's not moving when I want it to move. I want XRP to move now so I can have Lamborghini now. Well, it doesn't work like that, though, so calm down, children. It's going to be okay. Like historically, XRP has lagged behind. It just has. In fact, when Bitcoin hit its then all-time high near $20,000 in December 2017, it wasn't until after Bitcoin started tanking that XRP then hit its all-time high of almost $4 weeks later. So if you're talking about the most notable portion, yes. Even if you're not talking about the most notable portion of all of this, take a look at these headlines. I just pulled up a few just for fun. Here you go. XRP/USD lags behind Bitcoin and Ethereum as consolidation sets in. That was June of 2019. FX Street, Ripple market overview. XRP/USD lags behind Bitcoin and Ethereum as consolidation sets in. How about that? Here's one from March 30th, 2020 from Crypto News. XRP lags behind market despite strong weekly gains. Are you seeing a recurring theme? These are just three that I easily found from using the Googles all up on the webernets. This is not hard to find. And they're not just, it's not purely a narrative like Bitcoin maxis. Yeah, they want it to be true that XRP is always behind, but it actually does lag. And that's not some horrible thing. As far as why, that could be a fun conversation too outside the scope of this video. Let's just observe and acknowledge that it does. It does lag behind, as does XLM. And so out of the top 10 cryptocurrencies, XRP is the least correlated to the price action of Bitcoin, but it's still correlated. It's just impressive. I mean, a few days ago, I brought up a chart that showed that during the last market cycle, Bitcoin crept up over half a year from $1,000 to $10,000, and then it really went parabolic over the 4 weeks after that. I guess it would have, well, I guess it was over a slightly longer period of time. Maybe it was more like 9, 10. Yeah, I take that back. No, that's way wrong. It was more like from January to probably the end of November, and I am pulling from memory, admittedly, but got up to whatever it was, like $10,000, from $1,000 to $10,000 in 11 months or so. That's still incredible. But then over the next 4 weeks, it went from 10,000 almost 20,000. So insanity, right? Well, XRP, if you look at it from May to December anyway, halfway through December, it traded sideways, but then it rocketed. And so that true rocket portion, like that part looked different than Bitcoin in that it consolidated longer, but then it had a much bigger burst. And that's just historically how it's behaved here. And so you can think, okay, well, if Bitcoin indeed is going to get higher and higher and higher, like, what if it is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars during this market cycle, which is a maybe, I don't know. But what if it does? Like, what's that mean for XRP? Because I'm telling you, the analysts I follow that are pro XRP, that are calling from anywhere from like $10 to $30, which is mostly what I see. Those are the types of expectations that I see set. That's assuming that Bitcoin is not going to be anywhere near like $300,000. And not that everybody thinks it's going to be that, but even if it's a bit higher, what does that mean for the price action of XRP? Well, it would mean a higher price action for the entire asset class because it all moves in tandem. And it just makes you wonder if those are the reasonable expectations for XRP now, $10 to $30 this market cycle, what's actually going to happen. And so into this piece from the Daily Hodl, blockchain investment firm Pantera Capital says Bitcoin looks like it will break the $100,000 level sooner than they originally forecasted. In a new letter to investors, CEO and co-chief investment officer Dan Morehead notes that when Bitcoin plummeted in March of 2020, he assured investors that it would set a new record within 12 months as institutional investors started making allocations. And by the way, Dan Morehead, what an incredibly sharp dude. I really value any sort of insight I can glean from this individual here. And he was right, and he said it with confidence, and he was absolutely correct. Bitcoin indeed did hit its all-time high over that period. And here's a quote. "It took a few months to stabilize. A few months for the rally to build steam. Now it's full on. My instinct from trading many cycles over 35 years is that crypto prices are going to melt up. We'll see much higher prices before this cycle is over." And so this is an acknowledgement of market cycles being a thing, and if you have experience, you can have reasonable expectations towards the future. Well, how about that? Some people are just better at reading charts than others. And it's not like having a crystal ball. It's about probability of outcomes. But anyway, piece continues. Morehead says Bitcoin is now rallying ahead of Pantera's original projection. The CEO of the blockchain investment company highlights that as of March 15th, 2021, Bitcoin is already 3 weeks ahead of schedule based on an analysis of the Bitcoin stock-to-flow ratio after its third halving. Bitcoin broke the $60,000 mark on March 13th, exceeding Pantera's original prediction of $52,943 for March 15th, 2021. Morehead concedes that Bitcoin is outpacing their forecast and is now on track to reach $115,000. And the article wrote in a few weeks, but I believe that to be a typo, especially if you read the next quote, which is, Bitcoin is now ahead of our April 2020 forecast schedule to hit $115,000 this summer. So if they meant April, then okay, a few weeks, but that's not summer. If you mean summer, okay, that would be easier to believe, I suppose. But things happen fast in crypto, so like whatever. Who would have thought in a few weeks that Bitcoin would have gone from $10,000 to $20,000? Who would have thought in 2.5 weeks or so XRP would have gone from 20-something cents to almost $4? Well, you don't know when stuff's going to happen. When it happens, it's like you're happy if you have exposure, Which also, side note, is why I do not try to time markets in terms of, I think it's going to go lower, I'm going to sell and buy even cheaper because I'm a savvy investor. No, that's how people get wrecked, and I don't do that crap. Anyway, according to the firm, exposure to Bitcoin and the digital asset space has allowed their performance to skyrocket. Morehead also mentions the outstanding performance of the decentralized finance sector. And here's a quote. "Since publishing our March 2020 investor letter, which outlined our core thesis that unlimited money printing will push up the price of things whose quantity cannot be eased, Pantera funds are up immensely." Yeah, and so there's got to be some truth to that, because even if anecdotally, because you can think about MicroStrategy with Michael Saylor at the helm there, he's their CEO. he cited explicitly that they started looking into crypto as a result of what happened with the pandemic, and so what happened after the pandemic occurred, crazy money printing. That's specifically what got them all looking at it. And so, fine, that's an anecdotal incident, but it's a notable one. And after that, Michael Saylor even talked to Elon Musk, and they put out $1.5 billion into Bitcoin. Tesla did, and so a couple instances, fine, but it could be the beginning of a trend, and it's probably much more extensive than those surface level examples I can pull from memory. I think there's a lot more money that's been flowing in, and likely all sorts of things that we don't know about. But this is the type of activity that kicked it all off. And you can see this. Here's another piece from Daily Hodl. Industry forecast reveals impact of corporate adoption of Bitcoin price and supply. So check this out. It's the same topic. And this is why I'm saying when you're thinking about your XRP holdings or any crypto that you hold, because I know the vast majority of you don't hold just XRP, it's going to affect all of it, to be honest with you. Diginex chief executive Richard Byworth is revealing his expectations on the impact of corporate adoption on Bitcoin's price and supply. In an interview with Bloomberg Markets and Finance, the head of the blockchain solutions firm says he expects Bitcoin to surge over 212% from its current price of $56,000. And here's a quote. "We are modeling out about $175,000 for the price of Bitcoin by the end of this year." Like, holy hell. So you can compare that to somebody like my fellow XRP YouTuber, the Blockchain Backer, who firmly believes that Bitcoin's still, even to this point, just going to 70 to 80,000. And he could be correct. So understand, I'm just pointing out disparities between expectations. This is not a critique. I don't know who's right. I'm not a chart analyst. And it's just interesting to see the perspective. Now, I do see all sorts of money flowing in that I know otherwise would not be here. So that's why I'm not going to rule out something like this. But yeah, of course, the Blockchain Backer could be right. And you see Bitcoin top off sooner than later around $80,000 or something to that effect. That's certainly possible. But I'm just highlighting here that I'm seeing more and more businesses and individuals come out and just reevaluating what they thought based on the data that's being presented to them. And so the piece continues. The CEO says Bitcoin could hit its price target during Q4 of 2021 based on the stock to flow ratio, which divides the amount of a commodity in circulation by the amount mined per year. And here's a quote. "If you look at various aspects of stock to flow, the way that we've already seen 18.6 million Bitcoin has already been mined out of a 21 million supply, we are already starting to run into an interesting ratio on a stock to flow basis. And so we think that probably by the end of October into the latter part of the year, we're going to see that peak." And so again, with Bitcoin leading the market, of course, there'll be multiple pullbacks along the way, and people are going to be freaking out. And don't worry, I'll be here to soothe your soul. Just check out on a bad day. You can check it on good days too. But on a bad day, just go to the Moon Lambo channel. You're not going to see a bunch of fear and doom and gloom and be like, yeah, it's another day that ends with the letter Y. What of it? Because it's just par for the course, and this is all to be expected here. But if it does continue to go far beyond what many are expecting, I'm telling you, the whole market's going to come with it. I firmly believe that. I really do. And look at this. And this was from November, but I still wanted to highlight this. This is from Forbes. Head of this piece is it's a leaked Citibank report reveals Bitcoin could rocket to $300,000 price by end of 2021. This is from one of the largest banks on the world. You guys recognize that, right? Citibank is one of the largest banks in the entire planet. And mind you, this is November 19th, 2020, so Bitcoin was nowhere near where it is now. You can see here, the Bitcoin price this week has shot up past $18,000 per Bitcoin. So, they didn't know for sure what we know now, which is that in roughly the middle of March 2021, Bitcoin exceeded $61,000. And it's not going to stop there, even if there's a retracement sooner or later, or not sooner, even if later. I don't care. It's going to keep going. There's no indication that this is going to end soon, if ever. And I'm talking in a general sense. If we're talking about this market cycle, which is what I'm talking about for the vast majority of this video, yeah. I just don't know when it's going to end, but you gotta wonder if more and more money actually keeps pouring in. That will continue to affect supply and demand. Absolutely. Even if purchased over the counter, it's still going to affect what is available on spot exchanges for retail speculators like you and I. So it's still going to matter. So I don't know. I'm just positing the idea. I think it's a fun topic for conversation. I would love to hear what you guys think. So please comment below how you think this could possibly go, this market cycle, whether you're talking about Bitcoin or XRP. But I just, I couldn't be more excited and optimistic for the future. And I just want to know. I'm just so freaking curious. I've just been in the space for a little over, a bit over 3 years now. It was November 2017 I jumped in. And it's just so nice to be in the bull portion of this, but there's so many moving parts. I don't know how it's all going to end. In terms of this market cycle, not crypto is going to keep going on. It will persist. But it's going to be great. And then I'll have even more wisdom after the second bull market cycle that I'll have been through. And learning what I've learned, I'm going to watch, because things will change as the asset class matures. But I'll adjust my strategy moving into the next market cycle after this one. But I'm going to sell pretty much all the crypto that I own. That's my plan. Hopefully on the way up. I'm not going to be able to sell the top because humans just can't do that. That's not a realistic expectation. But my plan is to sell the vast majority of all of my crypto. And then when the market tanks again, inevitably, which I think will happen, and some think I'm wrong, but I think it's going to tank 80 to 90% again. And then as that's happening, I won't be able to purchase the bottom. But once it gets down sufficiently, I'll start putting excess cash back into the crypto market, getting ready for the next round. It'll just be interesting to see if humans are sufficiently behaving differently at that point, because at some point, people will stop putting money into every single mid and large cap coin. But we're not there now. I think that all of them are going to pop. And this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing my opinion. I do think all of them are going to pop, every large and mid-cap coin, which is literally what happened last market cycle. And I'm seeing humans behaving the same. I'm seeing that they don't have clarity around what it makes sense to invest in. I'm seeing that there's still a frenzy. And things could look different for the next market cycle, but maybe not even then. And the reason is really, it's taking a very long time for humans to figure out which coins will be winners. It's taking a long time to have real-world implementation in any sort of notable way of cryptocurrencies. Whereas you look at the dot-com boom and bust cycle, so many parallels there. But with the dot-com boom and bust cycle, yeah, so there was the frenzy around it. People put money in everything, same as they're doing with crypto now. But you just had one bubble that inflated and then popped. And then it just kind of was grinding up, after bottoming out, it just grinded up over a long period of time. But people didn't put money into a bunch of crap again after that bubble popped. But I think in part that's because it was easier for that technology, because we were talking about the internet, the dot-com boom and bust there. It was easier to see which companies were in the short term providing value. And so humans stopped acting like idiots. But for crypto, I don't think we have that sense of clarity. Yeah, you've got some coins getting used, like for instance XRP, but beyond that, it's not really clear. And so humans just keep doing what they're doing because it's out there, it's tradable 24/7, 365. And so you just get these hyper cycles where it's just like, the timelines, flying by, because it's traded every second of every day, and because there's a frenzy around it still, and it just keeps going and going and going. So I don't know for sure if that's what the very next market cycle will look like. It's going to be fun though to see. Either way, I'm going to be here, and I hope that most of you will want to stick around, because as long as there's interest, I'll keep running the Moon Lambo channel. I mean, there was enough interest during the last the bear portion of the last cycle, and I know that because I started my channel December 14th, 2018. That was my first video. And that was at almost exactly the bottom of the bear market, and there were still people interested. So I'm assuming that even if some of you lose interest after you've sold along the way, then okay, fine. But as long as there's enough people that are interested, I'll keep running this, because I know I'm not going to lose my interest. I think there's just going to be tremendous opportunity even after this bubble pops. We'll see how much it tanks, and hell, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't go down 70, 80, 90%, whatever. But I feel highly confident that it will, because this is structurally, from a chart, I'm not even an analyst, I just know that because I follow enough analysts. Structurally, it's very similar to what has happened in the past, and I see even without having that ability, humans are behaving the damn same. So we'll see. Let me know. I'll wrap it there. I'm not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Lambo.